Oh god, I've still got it in Chinese. So. We're gonna go in my game where I've basically done everything. Basically. A couple things I still do need to do in the game. And we are gonna have a chat about lore. Because honest to fuck, I don't understand why people don't get this, but to me, it's horrifically obvious. So, on a given level, Silksong is about motherhood, where Hollow Knight was about fatherhood, and siblinghood on a certain scale. Really? You're not gonna let me do that? Fine. Wait a second. Can the babies get down here? Nope. Why is my controller set to full fucking vibrate? Stupid abyss. My brain is Hollow Knighting really bad right now. It'll take me a hot second to like get my brain back into freaking Silksong mode. My brain is like C dash, but I can't C dash here. It's a C dash place. That's it. I'm like, what am I missing? Like, I know the problem is that because of him playing Hollow Knight. Fuck you, really? Really? Oh! I'm experiencing lag, aren't I? Maybe I'm not. No, I should just be able to do this. No. One, you keep forgetting to float, you dumb bitch, because the knight don't float, so you aren't trying to float. Eh? Thank you. There we go. And two, what RAM? I don't need RAM. Controller, I swear to fucking God. Yes, you're still the main character of this game. Yes, you are. You're the bestest. I love you. Fuck you. Apparently climbing out of the abyss is the hardest part of this fucking game when you've been playing way too much Hollow Knight. You just witnessed me trying to C-dash again. La 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 la. It's like the knight's controlling Hornet doesn't know how to play. Get me out of this hellhole, please. Alright. Talk about the fucking Lord. Since nobody seems to understand it, yeah, I do. They literally think the stupidest shit in the world. And I can only fucking chalk it up to the concept of folks don't know what the game's about in general, which is why I said the game is about motherhood. All different types of motherhood. Let's talk about it for a hot second here. If we see the Bell Beast. Bell Beast had a bebes. Actually, you know what? I know exactly where we need to go. We need to go look at something. Oh wait, can I even do that in Act 3? I should be able to. We'll find out if I can access the room in Act 3. I don't think I can, but even if I can't, we can still talk about it. So there's this area, before you kick tits out of Grandma Silk, that you can access. You can even play your needle in there and witness some ghosts chatting about things. I don't think you can get in there in Act 3. Okay. Anyways, people should know what I'm talking about. There's this area where you can get to, where there's a whole bunch of coral orders. So we've seen coral orders before there. And I'll go to Bellheart and show you the graphic for them. There's coral orders all over rune cages. So rune cages, we got coral orders. And on those coral orders, there's a whole bunch of stuff, and most people are deeply focused on the fact that, you know, oh well, it mentions the Steel City, you know, that's confirmation of what the DLC is going to be about. That's not what I'm focused on. I had a guy, I was watching this guy, like lore theories and stuff. And he said that all the coral orders, all of which start with the following phrase: go to a location and capture a weaver in part. So Hornet is a weaver in half part. I guess her mother was a weaver. So these are coral commandments. So all of them say the same thing. They say something to the effect of how many people they want to send, so full chamber 2, and then whatever kingdom they're going to. The kingdom of the White Worm, which is Hollow Nest. Claim the weaver in half part. So, but some of them are like in eighth part or in quarter part. So, how far away from the original weaver. Last of their line, sent strong with silk. So all of them say last of their line, and not all of them say sent strong with silk, but definitely all of them say last of their line. Now, this is Sarah's sister's anticipated 12th rune cage for any of the other weavers, but in this case, because this is the Hornet's the only one who's a half weaver. Everything is either an eighth or a quarter. It's clear that Grandma Silk has been capturing part weavers and dragging them back to the kingdom. So, what we can figure from lore that we've found all over the place so if we look around here, so here in Weaveless Atla, there's some conversations in some of the lore tablets around here that the Weavers are trying to escape. When we come over to this Weave Nest over here, there's another comment about that Grandmother Silk can always see where the Weavers are at, that they're always going to be captured, and everything else is going on. There's comments from like oh sorry, that's right, from the first sinner that some of them had run away. There's a comment from Widow where she mentions that she was the first, the last of the first. So she was the last of the original weavers that were originally little baby farlids. So what you find out when you kill First Sinner is that Grandma Silk had no children of her own. And because clearly she wanted children, literally lied to them, because she wanted children, she elevated Farlids. So she filled them full of silk and her powers and energy to make them more like herself, which is something that pale beings seem to be able to do at random. They can make bugs go from simple bugs to intelligent bugs. So she took a bunch of Farlids, a whole bunch of them, and elevated them and turned them into weavers. Like the weaver people. Now, the thing is, most of Farlids forgot their simple existence and believed Grandma Silk was their mom. This is where the beginnings of the whole mother thing starts off. But the First Sinner remembered, and the First Sinner fucking told everybody. The other thing is that Grandma Silk isn't necessarily a very good mom. She is a pale being, and she is a tyrant of some sort, because people really, really didn't like her, especially the Weavers. So when the Weavers all figured out that they'd been lied to, that they were mutated simple bugs that, you know, like, were under her control, and if they didn't do what she said, she would destroy them, and the First Sinner, when she was found out, was locked in a cage forever for being a sinner against everything, and you know the Weavers could basically concocted a plan to get out, to run away. They all wanted to run because the thing is they realized that the very idea that they knew the truth that she wasn't their real mom put their lives in jeopardy, because clearly she would kill anybody who spoke out against her or said, you know, like, we're not actually your kids. So they all started making their little weave nests, they all started making plans, and the way they executed those plans was to lull Grandma Silk into a coma. So they used their connection to her and her silk to basically play a lullaby. And you can actually see that Widow, one of the last weavers who was left in Farloom, she's not sane, she's not with it, she's barely competent and barely conscious because her mask has been removed, so she doesn't really have much of a personality. Like, if you remove a bug's mask, they kind of go crazy because they don't have a personality anymore. Like, they don't have the mask to kind of like keep all of their emotions in check. So she's out of it, but the one thing that she remembers to do is to play the harp. She was a harpist, unlike some of the other who were warriors of a sort, or they were they did other things with silk. So her whole thing is that she is instinctively she was one of the weavers who stayed behind to keep Grandma Silk asleep. Right? The fucked up thing about Widow is that she stayed behind to save her sisters. And the end result is absolutely fucking horrific. So, we can't see her corpse anymore. But one thing we can see in the original design for Widow is that she's got these pins in her back. If I look at her entry here. I'm trying to find her. So this is a common farlet. This is what the original... Something in their assault reminds me of my own skill, though their talents are born purely of instinct, whereas my technique is formed for hard training. Wait, if I can find Widow in here somewhere. Oh, there she is. Okay, so there's Widow. A crazed fanatic able to guide Farloom's haunted silk by music played upon it. Her body seemed to weave hers, but her mask had been forcibly removed, and her own silk was found useless by heavy pins lodged through her spine. Oh look, there's the entry for Lost Lace. So this is the thing that everybody's fucking missing, and it's pissing me off. The heart of the haunting, long lulled to slumber and desperate to wake, the higher being's threads stretched throughout Farloom, snaring its bugs and driving them to madness and discord. A bug born entirely of thread, much silk would have been needed to see her life sustained. A fragile form of life, but life nonetheless. Though gray with age, her frayed form suggested a being strung with silk, one who welcomed a decisive end in combat over a slow decline. So here's all the data you fucking need. Condemned for transgression, lost to time. So you find out what the transgression is. She knew that they had come from Farlets. And this is the last of the Weavers who is still alive and in the kingdom. That isn't locked up. She stayed behind to do stuff. She has these pins on her back. The thing is, those pins are one specific kind of pin that you only find in one other place in the entire fucking game. See if I can find them in here somewhere. Oh, you can't see them in here. Oh, I'll just have to go walk over there. The Widow stayed behind to help keep her asleep. And the other sisters who stayed behind to help keep her asleep, when they were still found out. Because the thing is, Grandmother silk is, well, it's fucking everywhere. It's everywhere, it's in everything, it's dangling from the ceilings and the walls. So even though Grandmother Silk was asleep, unconscious, her will still existed. So she had been hunting down the Weavers, and she knew that the Weavers were going to betray her because eventually they were all betraying her. They were all trying to leave. They were all trying to abandon her. Me suddenly realizing there's a faster way to get there. I think he just blew himself up. That's hilarious. So those few who were left behind their skills for the future spider that they knew that she would need. So how did they know that she was going to need another weaver to get her out of this mess? Because of Lace and Phantom and Phantom's older sisters. did I go too far? Oh no, I'm going the right way. Hey, Killer Monster. What are you listening to? You are listening to me talk about the lore of this game, which apparently... Apparently I was the only one paying attention to it when it happened. Okay, here we go. Now I finally got it back in here. This is where I want to be. So we've got a bunch of weavers who died, a bunch of weavers who escaped, and a bunch of weavers who stayed behind to help knock out Grandma Silk. I'm trying to find a good example. When I saw it, I went, oh, I know exactly what that is. Let's talk about the White Ward. And about these pins in her back. So the weavers who stayed behind they eventually left the Citadel. And I think it's because of what happened to Widow. See this? Pin? Right here? Not the same amount of detail. For simplicity's sake, in animating, one usually knocks back some stuff. The thing is, while Grandma Silk was asleep, the bugs caught at least one weaver and started tearing her apart. They ripped off her mask, and they pulled out her silk, and then they pinned it to her body so she couldn't use it anymore. And that's some of what happened in the White Ward. Do I actually have to Silksong up there? Now we see the many fucking bugs in this place and also where the Unraveler is.
I got this new anime plot. Basically, there's this high school girl, except she's got huge boobs. I mean, some serious hunkers. A real setup of donkers. Packing some Doban hunkeros. Massive da hunka bankaloos. Big ol' Tanhangera cougars. What happens next? Transfer student shows up one day with even bigger Bankhanaga hoogs. Humongous hungalamga no logangas.
So if we look here, we've got silk flies. When they ripped off Widow's mask and pinned her silk. The thing is, the queen would never do that. The reason why she would never do that is it would make her subject a simple animal again. So the only group that could have actually ripped off Widow's mask is the ones who were experimenting with silk in the first fucking place, in the White Ward. When they started ripping off other critters' masks, they realized it was literally killing them, but that they could preserve the soul. I'm not ignoring you. I'm just not saying the rhyme because I'm trying to talk about something. Why do you need the lore? Because I want to talk about the lore. You might not want me to talk about the lore, but I'll be talking about it. Thanks, controller. This shit. Why the lore? Because everybody seems... I keep watching all these fucking YouTube shorts, and they're always wrong. They're wrong about so many fucking things, and it's so annoying to watch them, because I'm like, that's literally not what's happening here. That's not at all the case of anything that's happening in this game whatsoever. Like, for instance, there's somebody who's literally like, oh, you know, Grandma Silk was capturing the children of Weavers for revenge. No, she wasn't. She wasn't capturing the children of Weavers for revenge. She had a problem. The problem was that after the Weavers put her to sleep, which, you know, they're prone to do, they put the Weavers to sleep, but there was still the other subjects in the Citadel. The other subjects in the Citadel started experimenting with silk because they knew that the Weavers, like, basically lived forever. So one, they captured Widow, ripped off her mask, pulled out her silk, and pinned it with pins, specifically to see, to like, figure out how Weavers work. They captured her, and they absolutely fucking destroyed her. She eventually escapes, but that's only half the story. Grandma Silk, even though she was unconscious, was still doing things. And some of the things that she'd done, she came to realize that there's this problem. When the bugs started shoving silk into all of their holes, and yes, it is that disgusting and ridiculous and like really ridiculous. Basically, the Weaver, after Widow was tortured, because they were trying to figure out how they tick, they thought, well, if she's got silk inside of her shell, and we don't got silk inside of our shell when we were part, some rando from the underworks, which they were doing as a node. That's how they ended up with the silk flies. They started ripping apart various other bugs to find out what was inside of them as well, and what they found out was they don't have silk. They don't have silk, they don't live. But if they do have silk, they seem to be able to endure almost anything. So they start stealing silk from Grandma Silk. The Grandma Silk, who was already annoyed enough with the Weavers, still wanted to have babies but couldn't for whatever reason, had started making these silk creations. While she was still active, and the Weavers were starting to, run away, and they were living in fear, and she started being like, well, I want babies that actually need me. So she created first the 3 older sisters of Phantom, which are only in the game files, but obviously, and I do say obviously were meant to hold on to the 3 hearts of the 3 local kingdoms. So the thing that we use to break into Hornet's memories, those hearts align with her first 3 silk creations. Thing is, none of them would submit. Brack basically said, fuck you, and even though his land was being drained of all of its water and was drying up and turning into a desert, he and all of his subjects stood together and died together. They just said, fuck it, we ain't doing shit. You can't make us, we'll just stand here and die. So, she never got his heart. Nihilith disappeared into the deepest, darkest parts of the of Shellwood and, didn't submit because she couldn't be found. And all other plant beings were slaughtered in an effort to try and get Nihilith to show itself, which is the reason why the rite of rebirth actually happens in the first fucking place. Because the bugs have been hunting down all of the plant creatures that used to be in Shellwood. So we have all these plant creatures that got slaughtered, but Nihilith stayed hidden and her heart was preserved. And then we have Carmelita, who the ants stayed very loyal. They hid her incredibly well. And because Hunter's March is an absolute dog shit place to be, the spider, like those that she sent into Hunter's March just fucking died. So Carmelita stayed safe, her heart stayed safe. And then there was Verdania. Verdania is... Yeah. What's my pet peeve? Wait, I got an ad. Ads. So, in Verdania, the 2 green princes, they didn't have an army. They had soldiers, but not a long-standing, well-trained army. They also didn't have, mercenaries in hidden spaces where they could hide. So when Harloom's, when the Citadel's forces arrived, the two princes made them a deal. They would they would send over one prince because they demanded that a prince be sent to basically parlay. And when they did that, they immediately attacked him and realized that the prince who was there didn't have a conjoined heart. The prince who stayed behind did. The prince who went there, however, had two souls. So one of them has the hearts, like one of them has the conjoined heart, and the other has both of their souls. So when they realized that they had two princely souls, both of whom liked to dance and slash and kill shit, they realized, well, we could just stick them in bodies similar to this guy, and that's how the cogwork dances work. Because the princes preserved Verdania's heart by sending the prince who had their souls and not the prince who had their hearts. Without realizing that in preserving the heart, they actually ended up with a green prince who was so fucking miserable it didn't really matter to him anymore if Verdania died, because his soulmate was dead and his soul was taken away. So he was eventually captured and put into jail in the Sinner's Road. But the thing is, because they finally got her to sleep, the continuing orders of the green of bring the green prince to me, I need the heart for that, got lost in transit. Like that order never arrived. So he's just been in jail ever since his partner died. Well, there you go. Pet peeve. You got an ad. Either way, so Phantom, as far as I can tell, was the one who was supposed to receive the twin hearts. And the reason why is instruments. But one of the things that I don't think a lot of people have actually paid attention to, like at all, is the fact that the three hearts are the three kingdoms, well, four kingdoms, are all based in an instrument. So Verdania is keyboards. Why keyboards? Because for whatever reason, both the Clockwork Dancers and Verdania itself and the Green Prince all seem to be represented by various keyboard instruments. And in the same way, the Phantom plays the exhaust organ, which is another keyboard instrument. So their songs feature a lot of harpsichord. Technically, a music box is also a type of keyboard instrument because of how the notes are arranged. Kind of this percussive thing. Piano's part of percussion, even though that doesn't make any goddamn sense because it seems like it's a stringed instrument, but it's fucking not. So they are those things. Like that's what they're represented by. Whereas Carmelita is obviously voice, right? She sings. Then we have the Weavers, who are represented by the strings. We have Karak, which I assume is supposed to be brass. And, yeah, strings, brass. Oh, and woodwinds. And woodwinds is the shellwood, obviously. Hi, Killer Monster. So we have woodwinds. We have brass instruments. We have strings. We have piano and harpsichord and stuff like that. We have voice, chorus, or the single voice. So, like Carmelita. So all of them are represented by instruments, and this is really, really, really important because that actually would tell us a fair bit about who those three weavers are. But regardless of all of that, the proof is in the pudding that they all wanted, or she wanted to have babies. So that keeps on coming up again and again and again and again and again and again. The weavers seem to have problems having kids. We saw it with Hurrah, because Hurrah was asked for a child from the White Worm because she couldn't have kids. Clearly, Grandma Silk can't have kids because she first tried with the Sordid Weavers, which didn't work out. And then she tried with Lace and her siblings, which didn't work out because in order to maintain the structure of her children, like her Silk children, they needed an external power source. So Phantom and her three older siblings were supposed to have the hearts. But none of those hearts were gained before the three of them fell apart and Phantom started to die. The Phantom's actively dying when we fight her. She's literally falling to pieces. When she falls down, she just dissolves. Like she just explodes in a little poof of silk because she was barely holding herself together. So the only Silk child who has anything left to her, I think what Grandma Silk was trying to do was find a weaver and capture it. Or sorry, a weaver's child. So obviously the weavers themselves were uncontrollable. But a weaver's child would be weaker than an average weaver. So she needed a weaver's child, ideally one with silk, who could take on being Lace's surrogate. Because the problem with Grandma Silk is, you see how like they've even drawn it in here, like her hair is going out in all directions? That's because when the weavers knocked out Grandma Silk and the rest of the Citadel residents started experimenting with the actual silk from GMS and started putting it inside their shells, it started being like their own children would be born with silk in their shells. And their husks, like the dead, had silk in their shells, which would raise the dead. So Grandma Silk is attached to everything. Her silk is in everything. She is being drained continuously by everything in Farloom because of the actions of the Citadel residents. So two things happened. One, Grandma Silk, while she was unconscious, or perhaps via her will through the silk flies, had the architects rebel. The architects, as in all the various little cogwork robots. Trying to find some. Not this guy. Not that guy. Not these guys. Not those guys. These guys. So they're protecting the core, and the core is protected by the cogwork dancers. The silk is being used to animate the artifices, so the will of Grandma Silk is now in all of the robots as well. And one of the things that the reason they were created was to support the Sentinels. I'm trying to find the second Sentinel, because you do fight him. Oh, there he is. Hogwarts Knight of Farloom, once protector of its pilgrims and master of the scissor blade. The talent and intelligence of this construct goes far beyond others I have witnessed. They seem less built as a tool to serve than as an attempt at life itself. So the second sentinel, it's protector. It was meant to protect the pilgrims, the innocent ones, and this is where the whole sin versus innocence comes in. The rest of the cogworks were sent out to go and kill every single bug with silk in them to help free Grandma Silk, because Grandma Silk is being drained of all of her energy. It killed the three. Or the four older sisters of Lace, and it's killing Lace. She's becoming weaker and weaker as time goes on because Grandma Silk has to donate so much of her energy to keeping Lace alive. So, not that Lace understands that or even knows that. So, the Sentinel was created to preserve bugs that have no silk in their shells. And the reason why we fucking know this is during the fight with the second Sentinel before, like, when Hornet confronts him before she fights him, she says, I had a feeling you were going to summon me here. And he basically says, I was designed to kill bugs that have silk in their shells. The husks and the living, anything with silk in its shell needed to die. And the reason why is really obvious. Because her subjects betrayed her. They stole her silk. And it was infesting everything. It was especially the dead. So that's why there's all these fucking bodies everywhere. That's what happened, right? So like, if you go into the coral halls, if I can get back there without getting fucking killed. Most of these guys are fucking hell. Trying to find ones that are showing that they're dead. Dude, that was gonna happen. We got some guys that are alive here, but not all of them are. So here, these bugs used to come back to life whenever you were here. You would see silk come down and their bodies would reanimate every single time you came in here. But the thing is, the reason why there's so many fucking bodies around here, and there's a lot of bodies around here, the reason why there's so many is because they were slaughtered by the Sentinels. The Sentinels killed everyone who had silk in their shells. But the issue is that bugs were being born with silk in their shells. Still connected to Grandma Silk, but not because of, you know, the sin of stealing that silk, but because their parents stole the silk and their grandparents stole the silk. So all these bugs were trying to get into the Citadel with silk in their shells, which is the reason why the judges were created. Like, the judges were there to basically kill any type of bug that came that had silk in its shell. And if you look at, say, the Silk Eaters and the judges are wearing a mask, but they had the same body structure as the baby ones. Right? So we have the Silk Eater. And if I can find the judges, there they are. It just has a mask. It's literally a Silk Eater. It even has the same shape of, like, the eye on it. So what these guys do is they scent silk. If there's silk in it, they want to kill it. They don't know any better than that because that's literally all they do. They hunt down things with silk in them. because that's... They remorselessly eliminate any pilgrim or passerby that deemed impure to their sight. But we do know that Sherma... If I go up here and we go see Sherma... Let's look at the difference here. So we've got some pilgrims here. Now watch above their heads. Oh, these ones don't seem to have silk either. Oh, these ones might actually not have silk. I'm gonna find someone who actually has some silk. Huh. The animation may be missing because it's the third act. If I can find anything that has a silk strand. 1 second, Sherma. That guy's been killed. Okay, there's a bug. Right, I got it. Little bug, and let's see if I can make it sing. Oh. Maybe it's too simple a bug to sing. This guy should sing. That's interesting. Not what I was hoping for, though, because you can't see above his head. And I need to find something that's not all voidy and shitty. We have a non-voidy one? Those are voidy and shitty. That's voidy and shitty. Does that one. That one's voidy. Everything in here get voided. I don't really pay that close attention because it's not like I... Both of them are void? It's an interesting thing to find out. Like, because it's not like you really pay attention that much after you, like, pound through here sort of thing. Because it's just like, okay, run away, run away. Oh, fuck. Really weird. Try to find one that isn't all voidy so I can show you the thread, because I don't think the void ones can sing because they've like gotten all voided. You can see it easily in Act 2. Here, this guy's not void. Right, so he's here. If I can get him to sing. I'm just quickly resetting him. You may not be able to see the threads anymore in Act 3. Yeah, you might not be able to see the thread anymore in Act 3. That sucks. Anyways, usually, I guess in Act 3, the thread doesn't show up because it's all corrupted. But in most critters sing, and they have a little thread attached to their head that vibrates when they're singing. Basically, they're not really wanting to sing, they're responding to the silk vibrating to your song. So your song is making them, or your playing is making them sing because they basically can't help it. There's only basically 2-3 characters that don't sing for that reason. The first of which is your Belbies. Belbies totally sings along, no thread. Second one is Sherma. Sherma sings along, no thread. And the third one is Trobio, who again, no thread. Now, it turns out there's a couple of other ones, as I happen to know. The Cult of the Flame, that live in the Wisp Thicket, none of them seem to have thread either. Which is also the reason why so many of them sing so badly, because, like, I mean, they're not singers, they wouldn't choose to sing normally. But they have that thread, right? So, yeah, I know something I wanted to go look at. So the sinners of Farloom aren't just like, oh, you know, it's the flies or the guys who are like making the food. No. Those guys are just workers. They don't even have a desire to go to the Citadel. No. You know who the sinners are? Sinners are any bug that has silk in their shell. So, when the first directive was created to start killing all the bugs that had silk in their shells, that should have worked out just fine. Except for one, well, enormous problem. All the children that were being born also had silk in their shells. So, more and more bugs were entering and living forever. See? Because of the silk in their shells. So the Sentinels were created to basically kill them all. And it seems that it was working just fine. Except for the ones in, She spun us to break. She spun us to fade. So here's how all this ends up working. The Weavers start to betray the Queen, or the Grandma Silk. Grandma Silk decides, you know what? If the Weavers are going to start leaving me and being rebellious because they don't like their origin, they don't say that I'm their real mom, well, and I can't seem to have real children of my own, I'll make Silk children. She spun them to fade. She spun them to fall apart, which seems weird, right? Except that it's pretty easy to tell from the designs of the older sisters. That they were spun to contain the hearts of the four kingdoms. And those hearts were meant to sustain them. But the problem was that two of them went into hiding, one of them destroyed itself, and the third one, three of them went into hiding, and one of them just let themselves fade away. They refused to leave their kingdom, and they let themselves fade away. So, between all the people who were hiding behind their armies, or their people, or just fucking straight up died because fuck you, the Silk Children also faded and died away. The only one who was like, I mean, Phantom hadn't completely died by the time we ran into her, but she was dying. So the only one who was still kind of with it was Lace. And Lace was probably meant to have a Weaver become her surrogate. So that's the reason why Grandma Silk was capturing Weavers, or part Weavers. Was basically so that Grandma Silk could either fill them full of silk and just use them as a little feeding station for Lace, hence the rune cage, or alternatively, as Hornet progresses through here, Grandma Silk also recognizes that she could just let Hornet kill her. The two versions of the battle, with the snare and without the snare, have a slightly different difficulty level. Not much. It's still a very easy fight. Yeah, it seems that the... You don't see the silk anymore in Act 3. That's a bit of a shame. I've been playing too much Hollow Knight, but don't expect great things out of this. I keep forgetting to float. Really? That's pretty cool, Scorpion. Oh, I know where I wanted to go. I heard that she left behind a note, but I don't see it anywhere. Please ignore me not sprinting because my brain is still definitely in Hollow Knight mode. thought he was here. Maybe not. Right, so what I was saying is that the one thing this game did so Grandma Silk, the reason why she's I'm gonna look this up to make sure that I'm right about this. I'm 100% sure because to be fair, the reason why I say that is because the snail shaman told me it, but it might not be true. Behavior and oh, that's interesting. Apparently, there was another ending to the game where you could attune yourself with Grandmother Silk and be absorbed by her. But regardless, it doesn't look like I'm actually right about the snare. The shaman says that, but it's not true. I think the idea is that that's the reason why she like grabs you and tries to like drag you into the void trap with you. So we have the snare. We have the situation where Lace does not know what her mother is up to. She does know that her mom's in a cocoon. She does have an intense frustration about she knows her mom's in a cocoon. She knows that her mom is using her like sleeping influence to drag weavers to the Citadel, and you can tell from the fact that it's a silk fly. See, Lace is literally controlling silk flies earlier in the just before the Lace 1 fight. You can see that she's controlling silk flies. So as far as you can tell, and from what Lace says in this Lace 1 fight, she's the one who let you through free. She's also the one who uses the flies to lead you out of the Moss Grotto and so on and so forth. She's literally trying to meet you so she can fucking kill you. Like, basically say, oh my god, this is another one of these weavers that my mommy likes more than me. I'll show mommy that I'm really good at fighting too, and she proceeds to try and kick the shit out of you. Like, that's the whole point, is she wants to capture you and show her mom that she doesn't need you. Thing is, or that her mom doesn't need, the thing is, Grandma Silk isn't doing this to have a better baby than Lace. Grandma Silk is doing this to feed Lace. Because Grandma Silk can't feed Lace anymore. As I don't think Grandma Silk is dying, but her power is stretched too thin, and because of that, Lace is going to die. If Lace doesn't, like, get a surrogate basically as quickly as possible, Lace is going to die. Just like the Phantom and the older sisters. They all died because they didn't have a secondary power source. So the whole idea is capture a Weaver child, who theoretically will be easier to control than a regular Weaver, and get them to feed Lace. Get Hornet, stick Hornet in a room cage, attach Lace to her. Lace has food. Lace isn't going to die anymore. That was Grandmother Silk's whole idea, is she just wants to keep Lace alive because Lace is her baby. That's the point. She isn't trying to capture Weaver babies to punish the Weavers. The Weavers have been punished. They're either dead, tortured and broken and barely recognizable anymore, or, you know, so far away that Grandma Silk can't contact them anymore. And the reason why she wants to capture their children, which, as a note, none of them are purebreds. Everybody's well, Hornet's the only half Weaver. Everything else is a quarter or less. She's trying to capture Weaver children simply because they're compatible with Silk, which means that they can just become the new surrogate for Lace. That's the whole point. And the issue is that when the snare goes off, Grandma Silk is furious. Not because Hornet beat her in battle, but because her Silk can't feed Lace anymore. She's mad at Hornet because of the Lace connection. Because Lace is gonna starve to death, which is why she grabs Hornet in fury, screaming, and tries to drag you into the trap with her. Because, fuck you, you've just condemned my daughter to death. And then Lace flies by and chops off her arm, and basically Grandma Silk goes, "You're gonna die if you don't stay with me." So she grabs Lace and drags her into the pit. That's what's happened. That's how it happened. This whole thing is Grandma Silk trying to save Lace's life. That's what's happening in this game. The whole thing happens because Grandma Silk recognizes that Lace is gonna die if she doesn't get a new source of silk. That's what's going on. Right? That's what's going on. So when you go down into the pit and go fight with and you go fight with Lost Lace, you're actually knocking the void off of her. And right before you fucking leave, right, because you've beat the shit out of Lace and Grandma Silk is getting mighty upset with you for doing that, when you're about to leave, you look at Grandma Silk and say, "I've got her. don't worry. That's all Grandma Silk needs, to just put her head down. Because before you Silk soar out of there, Grandma Silk, let's go. She puts her head down. And when you watch the cinematic, you can see that Grandma Silk has cast a massive ball of silk to try and protect her and Lace so that she can keep Lace alive in the drink. Because they're in the void. They're in liquid void, right? If we go down here to Lost Lace, to quell the mother's rage and see the kingdom saved, I will claim her back. This one the dark shall not take. We literally pull Lace out of the fucking void, and that's what makes Grandma Silk let go of everything and go to the void. She lets go because she knows Lace is safe, because Hornet has realized that the entire point of this whole fucking situation is Grandma Silk trying to keep Lace alive. That's what's going on in this game. It isn't Grandmother Silk wants revenge against the weavers who betrayed her. No, she's fucking depressed because she can't have kids. So she made her a new type of child. Silk, filled with life, to try and fill the void that was left behind when all the weavers left her. And the reason why she's got all these void tendrils and why her silk didn't get taken with her is she's trying her best to hold on to the real world and not sink completely into the void because she wants Lace to live. And what you do when you bonk the void right out of Lace and grab her and silk soar out of the void, or try to anyway, spoileritos, yeah, that's what you're doing. You're literally saving Lace, and that's the reason why the kingdom is saved. Because you saved Lace. I don't understand why people don't get this. Like, Hornet says it multiple times that the reason why Grandma Silk isn't letting go is literally because Lace got dragged with her. When you talk to the soul of Lace down in the void, like down in the abyss, and are like, you know, you do realize that this entire thing was that she actually loved you, right? And like Lace is basically like, well, knowing that now doesn't really fucking help me, does it? Like that's what's going on in this game, and it's so frustrating that people don't seem to understand it. It's about different types of motherhood. Like, if we look at any of the characters here, some of them were failed by their mothers. You know, some of them took part in a betrayal against their mother and got their just rewards. Like Chakra and her mentor, who Chakra later says it was like a mother to her. And like when Chakra when you find her mentor finally, Chakra says, you know, when I first got to this stupid place full of stupid bugs, I didn't think much of the place because, you know, I'd always just been in the tribe doing my thing. But because of my mentor, I've now explored an entire world and learned about other bugs and learned about other lives, like the ways other bugs live their lives. And I would never have done that if she hadn't done that. And she also says that her mother was like a mother to her. So, yeah, her mentor was like a mother to her. But yeah, motherhood. It's almost like it's an endless recurring theme going on here. And then there's Ham. Brood Mother. Another mother. Oh, hey, we can go look at Brood Mother. I found this out. So we killed Brood Mother, right? She was making all sorts of weird noises. It was terrifying and creepy and awful and terrible, and everybody fucking hated that. Me and all my homies hate that shit. to get back up here so I can go to... Right. I am nowhere near where I want to be. Pick this thing up. Philby, no! No, Philby! So there's a lot of talk in this game, almost continuously, about how the crimes of a parent can affect the lives of the children. So because there were those who took silk and put it in their bodies in order to become immortal, their descendants were eternally, like basically eternally damned because that silk infected them permanently. Very suspicious of me. Wrong. I need to get up to Broodmother, who's up at the top. Broodmother. I was saying about like the sins of the parents end up reflecting on their children. So like for instance, you're like, oh, well, what about Hornet? Well, Hornet sins, at least the ones that she gained from her father, are literally, well, one of the endings. One of the endings, she literally absorbs the power of a god because she's a demigod and has the capacity to do that. And this right here is, what happened with the flies. So, the flies did something. God knows what it was, but because they did that thing, they basically became slaves to the Citadel permanently. And their broodmother. Yummy, yummy. Oh, are you here to serve me? I'm merely a visitor here, little one. Have you made this place your home, then? My home? Oh, yes, it's lovely and warm. The big ones, they bring me food whenever I'm hungry. And I'm hungry now. Eggy, eggy. I'll eat a lot, and I'll grow big and fat, and then I'll lay a lot of eggies. They bring me plenty of food, so they must want plenty of eggies. And plenty they shall have if they're nice to me. I want to lay a lot of pretty eggies, so tell the big ones, bring me some more food. Fill your belly with lovely eggs, so when you're hungry, eat and eat. Grow bigger, bigger, oh so big. Eggy, eggy, big and warm. So, the flies have been in this place for God knows how long. And they will forever. Because of something that one of their relatives did long, long ago, generations ago, and now they don't know another life. Probably just pissed somebody off by spitting on them. Just saying. Trust King Khan. Oh yeah, I suppose Carmelita is another type of mother, because she was the queen of the Scar. But yeah. Anyways, so Oh yeah, the other mother that we see in the game is the huntress who her mate has long since died. Incidentally, his mask got picked up by sticks. And she wants to live to see her children. Even though traditionally she would sacrifice herself if her mate never returned with the food for the baby. Sort of like a backup system for if that ever happened. Anyways, I thought I could find Chris, but I did not find him. I looked all over the places where he's supposed to show up. Oh, I suppose I never actually go to the Flea Festival to see if he'd actually gotten there. Last time I played, I went to the Flea Festival and he still wasn't there yet. I don't know what I'm missing. Anyways, before I lose my touch at playing